Today is going to be a different video for the channel. If you've ever seen the YouTube channel The Needle Drop, you know that he has these videos called Great Albums, where he basically just goes through, and it'll be like the name of a month, he'll go through a list of albums released in a month or 2-month period, and just talk about some great albums, some standout albums. That's what I'm going to do today. We're going to do albums that were under the A category, meaning the original batch of albums I reviewed, albums with artists whose name starts with A. And I'm just going through the great albums that I've talked about. I haven't done a playlist called Great Albums. I need to do that on my channel. But for now, you just have a video. So in case you didn't watch all the videos, and I know you didn't because no one watches my videos, then you can just watch this video and know what I think is great. And we're going to have the album cover precede each album review so you know what it looks like. So let's just jump right in. First up, we have Audio Adrenaline's Kings and Queens. Kings and Queens is a really cool record. It has some really grand, really huge sounding stuff on it that works really well. It also has some very vocally, it has Kevin Max. This is the only album where Kevin Max has been a singer for the band, and he does a really, really good job. And lyrically, a lot of it is pretty solid. Some of it, not all of it, is great in terms of lyrics, but musically it's also very solid. You got some great songs, some really epic, grand songs like Raise the Banner, the one about the battle, The Answer, I Climb the Mountain, Believer, Kings and Queens, all really big, epic songs that work very, very well and are very good. This is an extremely controversial pick, extremely weird pick. You know, The Click by AJR. Unlike a lot of critics who put this in their top 10 worst albums of the year list of 2017, I really liked The Click. I thought The Click was a really cool record. It was lyrically, it's like an anti-pop album. The lyrics totally defy the norm of pop music. They all have their very own unique takes on things. You have some songs, and musically, this is extremely creative and interesting. Vocally is the worst thing it has going for it. The vocals can be a bit irritating at times, but it really can be looked past from the better production, for the really interesting production, and some really interesting lyrical content, some really good themes, and good, really interesting, solid lyrical content. So this is a good album. Next up, this is Andrew McMahon and the Wilderness's debut album, Andrew McMahon and the Wilderness. This is a really cool record. Vocally, Andrew McMahon, you know, he's a great singer and his voice really does shine on these songs. A lot of these songs are piano mixed in with modern instrumentation, but most of this really is just like piano music. You have a lot of heartfelt, kind of poetic lyrics. You got some solid lyrical content, and more than anything, these songs just sound really, really good. Just musically, these are very easy to listen to, they're very easy to digest, and they just sound good, and they have you coming back, and they actually get better with each listen. These songs do not wear thin. The music is just very wholesome, and it just sounds really good, and lyrical content is solid, vocals are very solid. It's a great album. Next up, this is the album Life is Beautiful by The Afters. This album is kind of a surprise because The Afters are a fairly generic name in Christian contemporary music. They really are kind of generic. They kind of just, you know, they're there for the hits. And this album did have hits on it. But surprisingly, this album really has their most distinctive production to date. It's mostly piano, earnest piano and earnest acoustic music, and then some synthy stuff, some electronic, some very modern production. And it's honestly really cool. It sounds good. This record honestly sounds good. And the lyrics honestly are full of really, really great messages, and a lot of them are really heartfelt. Some of it's really beautiful. This is a really good Christian album, really good Christian contemporary music album. Heroes for Sale by Andy Mineo. This album is Andy Mineo's big debut album. It's not his first thing he's ever made, but it's his debut album as Andy Mineo, and it was honestly pretty impressive. There is a lot of content, so you cannot expect every single song on this to be a hit, and there are songs that miss the mark, but some of these have really cool production, some really solid music, some solid vocals by Andy, and very solid lyrical content. A lot of it's very serious. Some of the lyrics deal with Andy's relationship with his dad. Some of the lyrics are about very serious topics. Wild Things has there's some very interesting, some really cool music on this. Not all of the music sounds amazing. Some of it's a little bit outdated, but this album shows a surprising amount of quality and is actually very, very good. Uncomfortable. This is a personal favorite of mine. If I did a top 20 albums of all time, this would probably be on it. It was the album that really got me into rap music. It is so iconic for me. Not every song is a hit, but this album has some truly amazing songs. Uncomfortable, Rat Race, Vendetta, Hear My Heart, like 10 out of 10 songs. Those songs are so, so good. Even if you're not going to listen to the whole album, you don't have to. Listen to those songs. This is a great album. Some honestly super duper good songs. Some really great songs on this album. Let's talk about The Arrow, the next pick on this album, on this list. And that's the highest rated album on this whole great albums video, because it's very good. Conceptually, the theme of this album is very, very, very solid. It's very well executed. Musically, super creative, super interesting, very, very high quality. Sounds awesome. Vocally, really serious. Andy really gives it his all. It's very emotional at parts, very into it, very fun at parts. And then music, lyrically, it's got a theme, a running theme in the lyrics, and these strong themes and these strong lyrics. And it's honestly just a fantastic project. This is like a fantastic EP. I totally recommend it. It's not even very long. You should check out The Arrow. It is definitely worth your time. The Sword, this album, is good. It's very good. It's very, very good. It's not as good as The Arrow. I'll have to say that. It's not as strong conceptually. The lyrics are not as strong. The production is not as strong, but there are some fantastic songs. Some, honestly, like Uncomfortable, some really songs you do not want to miss. I'm talking about There. I'm talking about Shame. I'm talking about Donuts. I'm talking about... There's one other really good song. Oh, Crazy. That is a super good song. Super good songs on this thing. Some fantastic songs. It's not as strong conceptually as The Arrow. It's not as consistent and is not as complete as The Arrow, but still some fantastic songs. You have to check out this EP. It is really good. The final entry in a-ha's trilogy. Trillium 3 is the best in the series by a long shot. It's a great album. Super duper fun. a-ha gives a fantastic performance on this album. Just resonates this energy of not caring, yet also sort of caring, yet also just doing a fantastic job. His rapping is perfect on this album. He does a perfect, amazing delivery. So much fun to listen to. Does a fantastic job. Honestly, he was one of the best rappers on Reach, literally just for his rapping ability, but then he got kicked off, so I don't know what he's doing now. But this album, this is great. Trillium 3 is a ton of fun. This album being on this list really shouldn't be any surprise. It won the Grammy for Album of the Year. It has an 87 on Metacritic. It has like an 8.9 on the user score. The critic score is like 87. It has like an 8.8 or 9 user score. It has 5 stars on AllMusic. This is an undisputedly great album. Literally everyone says it's great, and I really can't argue with them because it is. Musically, really, really good. Vocally, it's good. Lyrically, it's good. It's just good. If not, it's good, and if it's not good, it's great. This whole album, it's very, very good. This is a great album. Finishing off this list is the fan favorite Alt J album known as An Awesome Wave. This is a really cool sounding record. Musically, this album is more of an experience than an album. This is an album you don't listen to, it's an album you experience. It's very abstract. The lyrical content is very abstract. The singing goes along very well with the really weird, trippy, drugged out kind of like stream of consciousness lyrics. And the music is it just sounds beautiful. It sounds organic. It sounds like it's alive in so many places. This is a really, really good album. It's a really great sounding. This album is not an album. An Awesome Wave is an experience. And this is something that I highly recommend you experience because it is really cool. Thank you for watching the video. I think this was a pretty good video. I was gonna like do honorable mentions of like albums that are almost great, but I thought the video would take too long, and I already have plenty of albums to talk about for this list. We have 11 albums I went over, or mixtapes or EPs or whatever. So plenty of music for you to check out if you haven't, and I'm guessing you haven't checked all this out because some of this is kind of obscure. So check it out if you haven't listened to this stuff. It's totally worth your time.